Meantime, the Lakers. Okay, so here's what LeBron says. There have been times when we're at our best, we look really good. And there are other times where it's disgusting.
You know what that sounds like, Ernie?
What?
Sounds like an old man. Like when you wake up in the morning, sometimes I'll be like, ooh, I feel good. Then that next day you be like,
That's disgusting.
It's hurting me.
Charles Barkley opened his mouth about the Lakers again, and what came out was so sharp it almost felt illegal to laugh. The Washington Generals comparison? Ruthless. The Oprah Winfrey impression? Cold-blooded. And that sciatica joke aimed straight at LeBron James? Yeah. Chuck was in full attack mode. He didn't hesitate. He didn't soften it, and he definitely didn't miss. Every line hit exactly where it was supposed to. This wasn't random trolling. This was surgical comedy from a man who has been roasting teams for decades and still finds new ways to make it sting. So let's pause for a second and give Barkley his flowers. Before we even break down what he said, understand this. He has turned Lakers commentary into an art form. Watching him talk about this team feels less like sports analysis and more like a live comedy masterclass. If you watch Inside the NBA regularly, you already know the Lakers are his favorite subject. Not favorite because he loves them, favorite because they keep handing him material. Every inconsistent performance, every dramatic quote, every awkward press conference becomes another punchline waiting to happen. And then came LeBron's own words. He said, and this is a direct quote, that there are times when the Lakers look really good at their best and other times when it is disgusting. He said that himself. Calling your own team disgusting in a press conference? That's either elite honesty or frustration boiling over.
Why do you hate the Lakers? Chuck, tell us.
I hate the Lakers. It's always somebody else's fault. Remember 3 years ago, it was Russell Westbrook's fault. Then it was Frank Vogel's fault. Then it was D'Angelo Russell's fault. Then it was Darvin Ham's fault. It's always somebody else's fault. And it bothers me. Listen, you don't always blame other people for your shortcomings. It's like an Oprah Winfrey show. You get a basket. You get a basket. You get a basket. Everybody who plays against the Lakers, they gonna make everybody look good. I mean, they're like the Washington Generals. They gonna make every team's the Globetrotters against them. I mean, and we can keep sugarcoating it, and I know they're going to make us talk about the Lakers. The Lakers are a mediocre team.
If you watch Inside the NBA with any regularity, you already know that the Lakers are Chuck's favorite subject.
Nah, Barkley grabbed that quote and flipped it into pure television gold. The way he reacted, the timing, the delivery, it was the kind of moment that sticks with fans long after the show ends. He said it sounds like an old man waking up one morning feeling amazing, joints loose, back feeling good, everything clicking, and then the very next day the sciatica is screaming and nothing wants to cooperate. The way he tied that to the Lakers was so smooth that the entire set cracked up instantly. It was not forced, it was not over the top, it was just painfully on point. And here is the uncomfortable part. It was not cruel for the sake of cruelty. It was realistic. LeBron James is in his 40s playing against guys 10 to 15 years younger every single night. Some nights he looks unstoppable, like he turned the clock back. Other nights the burst is not the same. The rotations are half a second late, and the team energy follows that rhythm. When your leader rides that kind of physical wave, the team tends to ride it too. That is not disrespect. That is the reality of late career greatness. Asking a 41-year-old body to dominate on a back-to-back schedule in the Western Conference is a huge demand. Some nights you get vintage brilliance. Other nights you get visible wear and tear. The unpredictability is baked into the situation whether fans want to admit it or not. But Chuck was not stopping at one joke. He never does when the Lakers are on the screen. Once the laughter settled, the panel actually got serious about the basketball side of it, and the breakdown was real. The Lakers simply do not have strong perimeter resistance at the 1, 2, and 3 spots. Guards and wings are walking downhill into the paint with confidence. And when you cannot stop penetration at the point of attack, everything collapses behind it. Your rim protector is suddenly in constant emergency mode. Your help defenders are scrambling. Rotations stretch thin. The entire system becomes reactive instead of controlled. You are constantly trying to clean up messes instead of preventing them. When DeAndre Ayton was brought in, the expectation was clear. Be the anchor, protect the rim, clean up mistakes, add some physical intimidation inside. And if we are being honest, he has been average, not awful, not a disaster, but not the defensive backbone this roster desperately needed. You cannot rely on one big to erase every breakdown happening in front of him.
The Lakers proved to what I keep saying. The Lakers stink, plain and simple. We have to talk about them because the media is infatuated with the Lakers. But the Lakers are not a good team. They got zero athletic ability. They got a good shot every time. The Lakers could never keep them in front of them. This was a coaching masterpiece by Jason Kidd because there's no way that team that the Mavs put out there, especially one winning by 20, basically.
That is where the bee nest analogy actually makes sense. If nobody stops drivers on the perimeter, it is like kicking open a hive. Every attacker is already inside with momentum. You can have size back there. You can have length. But if 3 or 4 guys are crashing into the paint at once because nobody was slowed down earlier, you are fighting math. You cannot win. Rotating, recovering, contesting everything at once rarely ends well. Now here is the twist. Offensively, the Lakers can absolutely score. Luka Doncic is flirting with triple-doubles like it is routine. Austin Reeves has been dropping over 25 a night and playing with confidence that jumps off the screen. There is no argument there. They can put points up against almost anybody when the rhythm is right. And that is when Barkley hit them with the Oprah impression. You get a basket. You get a basket. Everybody gets a basket. It was perfectly timed. The comparison to Oprah giving away cars landed because it felt true. The Lakers' defense right now looks like a giveaway show. Every opponent shows up and walks away with numbers. Teams roll into town expecting career nights. Guards look like all-stars. Role players suddenly cannot miss. The paint is open. The lanes are open. The scoreboard keeps moving for the wrong reasons. And then came the Washington Generals line, and you could feel the sting building again. For anyone who does not get the reference, the Washington Generals are basically the team built to lose to the Harlem Globetrotters. The Globetrotters are the show, the tricks, the flair, the crowd reactions. The Generals are the background cast whose job is to get crossed up, spun around, and beaten every single night. That is their role. That is their identity. They exist to make someone else look amazing. They are structurally designed to lose. Not sometimes, not accidentally. It is the whole point. So when Charles Barkley looked at the Los Angeles Lakers, a franchise with 17 championships, banners hanging from the rafters, legends like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Magic Johnson, Shaquille O'Neal, and Kobe Bryant tied to its history, and said they look like the Washington Generals, that was not just a joke. That was a statement. He basically said every team that faces the Lakers right now turns into the Globetrotters. Every opponent gets to run their offense freely, put on a highlight show, and walk out feeling good. The crowd laughed. The panel laughed, but deep down, a lot of Lakers fans probably felt that little sting because there is truth hiding inside the punchline. Then the conversation shifted over to the Los Angeles Clippers, where Lawrence Frank tried to spin things by saying the goals had not changed, and this was not some white flag situation. Barkley shut that down instantly. He said they have waved every color of flag at this point. White flag, purple flag, orange flag, blue flag, all of them. That line landed because it felt brutally honest.
He just described who he should be and who the team should be based on what their personnel is at that time. They are old in certain parts. They don't have perimeter.
Wait, he's the only one old.
But they don't have perimeter defense young at the perimeter. So now there's no resistance for guys that get downhill.
Yeah.
And I think that is the biggest thing. You know, yes, they don't have a great shot blocker, but they have shot block ability. But they do not have resistance at the 1, 2, and 3 position. And that is indicative of why they play like that.
You're going more to his own too, to address the defensive issues on that team.
Absolutely, and like you mentioned, like Luka and Austin Reeves have been terrific offensively. Luka flirt with a triple-double every night. Austin Reeves been killing the league, averaging over 25 points, but they've been a turnstile on defense. And whoever comes to town can just beat them off the dribble, drive and kick, and get other guys open. But you wanted to also get more from DeAndre Ayton as an anchor when you acquire him as the Lakers, and he's been pedestrian a lot of times, and I just don't think the Lakers, even though LeBron does a really good job at his
But when you open a bee's nest and all the bees is hard to block all the bees, you got to like this. Like, come on, it's like you got to have resistance out front.
But even offensively.
He even pointed at Kawhi Leonard and the constant injury storyline that has shaped the Clippers' long-term planning. It was sharp, but again, it was not random. It was built on years of watching how these situations unfold. Still, the Lakers were the main target, and beneath all the comedy, there was real basketball analysis. Yes, they are 5th in the Western Conference. On paper, that sounds respectable. But 5th in the West means staring at playoff paths that run through the Oklahoma City Thunder, Denver Nuggets, Houston Rockets, and the San Antonio Spurs. And here is the issue. Those teams are playing more connected basketball right now. More defensive discipline, more cohesion. Barkley even said he is jumping on the Spurs bandwagon, and he does not hand out praise lightly. San Antonio is sitting near the top of the conference and already took down Oklahoma City multiple times this season. Young talent is stepping up. Dylan Harper is averaging 11 points a game as a 19-year-old rookie, and the franchise looks organized and hungry. It does not feel like a lucky stretch. It feels like a foundation being built. Now compare that to the Lakers. They are built around an aging superstar in LeBron James at the very end of his career. They have a transcendent talent in Luka Doncic who is still blending into the team's full identity. And they have a supporting cast that can absolutely score but leaves serious defensive holes exposed. Some nights it clicks. The offense flows. The stars shine. Everything looks dangerous. Other nights it unravels fast. Rotations break down. Energy dips. Opponents take over. That is exactly what LeBron meant when he used the word disgusting. It was not exaggeration. It was frustration speaking out loud. What makes Barkley's words hit harder is that he says what others hesitate to say. The Lakers right now are stuck in the middle. Not terrible enough to rebuild and reset expectations. Not dominant enough to scare the elite teams in the West. They are in that awkward space where they get primetime attention because LeBron guarantees headlines, but the results do not match the spotlight. And that middle ground is uncomfortable because relevance without dominance creates pressure, and pressure without answers creates nights that look exactly like the Washington Generals comparison everyone laughed at. May and June always bring that awkward conversation nobody in national media really wants to touch directly: the aging of LeBron James. It is uncomfortable. It is sensitive. It feels almost disrespectful to even say out loud. That is exactly why Barkley sliding it in through a sciatica joke was not just funny, it was necessary. Playing professional basketball at 41 years old is not normal. It is historic. It is impressive. It is rare. But even the most disciplined, well-maintained superstar body cannot escape biology forever. The inconsistency LeBron described himself, the great nights and the disgusting nights, mirrors exactly what late-stage athletic performance looks like. Some mornings the body feels fresh. Some mornings it does not. That is not slander. That is reality.
They gonna make us talk about the Lakers. The Lakers are a mediocre team. Now they got some really good teams in the West that we should be talking about, because I'm starting to get on this San Antonio bandwagon right now. Obviously we got OKC and Denver, we got Houston, but man, them Spurs, they're knocking on that door.
Still number 5 in the West right now, the Lakers, and for the 11th time this season, expected to have LeBron and Austin Reeves and Luka Doncic together on the floor.
You get a basket. You get a basket.
It's a bit of rarity.
What you want to do? What you want to do?
Respecting his longevity does not mean pretending decline is not creeping in around the edges. His career is legendary. His conditioning is elite. But when the burst comes and goes, when the lift is not always there, the team feels it too. Barkley is one of the only mainstream voices who will say that clearly without wrapping it in layers of careful wording. Then there was that stat. LeBron, Austin Reeves, and Luka Doncic have shared the floor together only 11 times this season. 11. In a season already past the midpoint, that number is alarming for a trio that defines the team's identity. You cannot build chemistry in 11 games. You cannot sharpen defensive instincts or trust switches and rotations in 11 games. Injuries, load management, schedule congestion, all of it has kept the core from developing rhythm. Playoff defenses are built on months of repetition, not scattered appearances. The move toward more zone defense says a lot too. Zone is a strategic tool. It can disrupt rhythm. It can buy time. But teams lean on zone when they lack the personnel to consistently stop players one-on-one. That is the quiet message underneath it all. Against average offenses, it might survive. Against the Oklahoma City Thunder, the San Antonio Spurs, or the Denver Nuggets, sustained zone becomes a gamble. Elite teams dissect it. They stretch it. They force rotations until something breaks. That is why the Washington Generals comparison cuts deep. Because this season, too often, the Los Angeles Lakers have made opponents look sharper than they really are. Guards attack the paint freely. Shooters step into open threes. Role players leave with career nights. It starts to feel like a highlight factory for visiting teams. When Barkley said it on Inside the NBA, people laughed. But it was that uncomfortable laugh. The kind where you know there is truth sitting underneath the humor. The Western Conference is stacked. Oklahoma City looks organized and hungry. San Antonio is rising fast. Denver still carries championship composure. Houston brings defensive intensity and energy every night. Sitting 5th in that environment is not safe territory. It is dangerous ground if adjustments are not made. Barkley is not going to stop. The Lakers are too relevant and too visible. But the fact that the material keeps getting better for him is not something fans should celebrate. You get a basket. You get a basket. Everybody gets a basket. That line landed because the numbers back it up. Right now, the defense is what it is. The sciatica joke hit because the inconsistency is visible. The Oprah impression worked because the giveaways are real. And the toughest part? The counter-argument is hard to build when the evidence keeps showing up on the scoreboard.